Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. This is Ain't Nobody Squeaky Clean. And as always, I appreciate you for coming to the podcast. I hope you all had a fantastic week, and I hope you have a fantastic weekend. So let's go ahead and get started. Today, I wanted to talk about something that I've been researching. You guys know I've been, out of work ever since Doge last year, and I've been trying to get back on. But what that leads you to doing is researching a different path. Because, we know these jobs come and go. Jobs always have an end date. We don't know what that end date is, but ultimately they're going to have an end date. So that led me down a rabbit hole and said, you know what? How did people that are billionaires become billionaires? So that's what I'm going to talk about today. So this is something that I think fascinates everybody, on almost everyone on earth. How are billionaires actually made? And more importantly, can a regular person become one? Now, before we start, let's clear something up immediately. Most billionaires did not become billionaires because they worked harder than everyone else. There are construction workers that work harder than billionaires. There are nurses working harder than billionaires. There are single parents working harder than billionaires. So if hard work alone created billionaires, we'd probably have millions of them. But that's not how it works. Billionaires are usually created through a combination of ownership, scale, timing, risk, and solving massive problems. That's the formula. Not luck alone, not education alone, not talent alone. A combination. So I'm going to talk about ownership first. Most billionaires own something: a company, a platform, real estate, technology, intellectual property, equity. They don't just trade hours for money. That's one of the biggest mindset differences in the world. Most people, most of us, are taught, get a good job. I know I've heard that my entire life. Billionaires are usually focused on, how do I own the thing that people depend on? That's different. If you work for a company and they make $500 million, you might get a raise. If you own part of the company, your wealth explodes with the company. That's why equity changes everything. When you look at people like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, or Mark Zuckerberg, most of their wealth was not salary, it was ownership. Ownership is where wealth compounds. Now, let's talk about scale. This is where the internet changed the world. Years ago, you could only impact the people physically around you. Now, one app can touch 1 billion people. One platform can reach the planet. One video can create business overnight. Scale is everything. A billionaire level business usually solves a problem for millions of people. That's why the biggest fortunes are often built around communication, transportation, software, healthcare, energy, finance, logistics, or entertainment. Massive problems, massive reach, massive scale. You want massive wealth? You usually need massive impact. Now, here's something else people don't talk about enough: timing. Timing matters more than people want to admit. Some people became wealthy because they entered an industry before everyone else understood it. Early internet, early software, early e-commerce, early social media, early AI, early crypto, early cloud computing. Sometimes the biggest fortunes happen when someone sees the future before the crowd does. And that's difficult because when you're early, people think you're crazy. And that's the price of being first. Now, let's talk about risk. Everybody says they want to be wealthy until it's time to take the risk. Most billionaires spent years uncertain, years stressed, years doubted, years losing sleep, years failing. Elon Musk one time famously said, "It took me 25 years to become an overnight success." No one saw those 24 years of grinding. They just saw the end result. As I stated, people love the success story, but they ignore the years where nobody believed in them. And that part matters. And here's the dangerous thing about social media. People now see wealth without seeing sacrifice. They see private jets without seeing 20 years of obsession. It's just like the Elon Musk story I just shared. They see mansions without seeing bankruptcies, failures, lawsuits, stress, pressure, and isolation. The road is usually ugly before it becomes glamorous. Now, can an average person become a billionaire? Technically, yes. Statistically, extremely difficult. Let's be honest about that. But here's the good news. You don't need to become a billionaire to become financially free. And I think that's where society gets confused. There's a huge difference between being rich, being wealthy, and being a billionaire. A billionaire is playing a completely different game, completely different. But many people could dramatically improve their lives by simply owning assets, investing consistently, learning business, creating additional income streams, reducing destructive spending, reducing destructive spending, and building skills that scale. That alone can completely change a family tree. You don't need $1 billion to create generational impact. Now, here's another truth. Most billionaires think differently about money. Average people often think, how much does this cost? People that build wealth think, how does this make money? How does this grow? How does this scale? And how does this multiply? That mindset shift matters. Money is treated like a worker, not a trophy. And the wealthy understand compounding. Small, disciplined decisions repeated for decades become enormous. That applies to investing, business, health, relationships, and knowledge. Compounding is one of the greatest forces on earth. Now, let me say something important here. Not everyone should chase becoming a billionaire because that level of success often comes with extreme sacrifice. Time, pressure, relationship stress, public scrutiny. Sometimes peace is more valuable than another zero in a bank account. But I do think everyone should learn how money works. Schools teach people how to work for money, but not how money works for you. Let me say that again. Schools teach people how to work for money, but not how money works for you. That's why so many intelligent people still struggle financially. Nobody taught them the game. And once you understand the game, you start moving differently. You stop chasing appearances. You stop buying things to impress broke people. You stop confusing income with wealth. Because somebody making $300,000 a year with no assets can still be financially fragile. And somebody quietly building ownership and investments can become financially unstoppable over time. That's the difference. So if you're listening to this wondering whether you can build wealth, start here. Reiterating what we've talked about. Learn valuable skills, solve real problems, build relationships, learn sales, learn communication, leadership, money, own something, invest in something, and more importantly than all, stay disciplined, stay patient, and stay adaptable. Lastly, stay in the game long enough for compounding to work. Don't just invest and then look at it and say, all right, it's 9:30, I'm going to buy this stock, and by 4 p.m. it better be up. That's not how it works. Like my good friend said, who's a financial expert, watching your stocks is like watching paint dry. You don't want to do it. There's no benefit to it. Put it in there and trust. It'll grow if you've done your research. Wealth usually does not happen overnight. If it did, I would be talking to you from a different perch right now, because I have tried it time and time again in my earlier years. It does not happen overnight. It happens slowly until suddenly everyone thinks it happened fast. My goal with this podcast is to teach you guys things based off of my life experiences, and also based off of the topics that you guys want me to discuss. This is something that always pops up, and especially given the current situation that I'm sitting in as I'm doing this podcast, I'm trying to figure my way out. Doing it my way has gotten me nowhere. So you have to branch out and learn new ways. And as I'm learning them, I am sharing them. I'm not trying to sell it to you for $19.99 right now. That might change when I become a billionaire, because they all seem to do that, but you're getting it for free. All you have to do is click and listen. Do your own research. I do research before I come on here to talk to you guys. I put my script together and then I check it against the facts and come up with my final script. In my next episode, I'm going to tell you guys how to start your own podcast. But for today, we're going to learn how to become a billionaire, or how someone became one. So I hope this information helped you. And I hope you learned something. Or I hope it just reiterated what you already knew if you're already on that trajectory. If anybody out there listening is on the path to becoming a billionaire or even a millionaire, and you have some nuggets that you want to share with me, please, by all means, reach out. Leave me a comment on YouTube. And those of you who know me personally, reach out directly. I'm always trying to learn new ways, and I won't stop until the good Lord above calls me home, which I hope is many, many years from now. With that, this is Ain't Nobody Squeaky Clean. And as always, I hope you have a blessed day and a blessed week. Now let's go figure out how to become a billionaire.